We also propose to fully empower and equip them to address the issues of urbanization, inclusive development, social security, climate change, waste management, migrant communities, which are the important concerns of the state. Our local government are on a mission to devise new pathways of sustainable development. I would like to introduce the dignitaries onto the stage. It's my honor to invite Honorable LSGD Minister Shri MP Rajesh, who gives dynamic leadership to the economic government, local government department through his active and innovative interventions onto the stage, please. Next, I would like to invite Dr. V. Venu, Chief Secretary of Kerala, onto the stage, please. Next, I would like to invite Additional Chief Secretary of Kerala, Srimati Sharda Muralidharan IAS, who meticulously lead the local government in Kerala. Next, I would like to invite former Union Minister of Panchayati Raj, Sri Mani Shankar IAS, onto the stage. Next, I would like to invite the former Minister of Finance, Government of Kerala, Dr. T.M. Thomas Isaac, onto the dais. I would like to invite former Chief Secretary, Government of Kerala, Sri S.M. Vijayanand sir, onto the dais. Next, I would like to invite former Director General of National Institute of Rural Development and PR, W.R. Reddy, IAS, onto the stage. Next, I would like to invite the former Secretary of Government of India, Sri Sunil Kumar IAS, retired, onto the stage, please. Next, I would like to invite Kerala State Planning Board member, Dr. Jiju P. Alex, onto the stage. I would like to invite the Chairman of Kerala Biodiversity Board, Dr. C. George Thomas, onto the stage, please. I would like to invite Director General of KILA, Dr. Joy Alaman, onto the stage. I would like to invite Kudumbashree Chief Operating Officer, Sri Sajid Sugumaran, onto the stage, please. Next, I would like to invite Karshagotama Award winner, Sri Roy Anthony, onto the stage. We have invited resource persons and more than around 300 experts onto the decentralized planning and local governance from different organizations to this function. All the invitees are invited to these events wholeheartedly. Next, I would like to invite former Union Minister of Panchayat Raj, Sri Mani Shankar IAS sir, onto the stage, please. Next, I would like to invite former Minister of Finance, Government of Kerala, Dr. T.M. Thomas Isaac sir, onto the stage, please. I would like to invite Trivandrum Mayor Arya Rajendran ma'am onto the stage, please. ഔപചാരികമായ പരിപാടികൾ നമുക്ക് ആരംഭിക്കാം. ആദ്യം മാലിന്യമുക്ത നവകേരളം പ്രതിജ്ഞ ചൊല്ലിക്കൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് ആരംഭിക്കാം. പ്രതിജ്ഞ ചൊല്ലുന്നതിനായി ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ വകുപ്പ് മന്ത്രി ശ്രീ എം.ബി. രാജേഷ് അവർകളെ ബഹുമാന പുരസ്സരം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. Let's start with മാലിന്യമുക്ത നവകേരളം pledge. To deliver the pledge, I would like to invite Honorable Minister for LSGD, Sri M.B. Rajesh.
മാലിന്യങ്ങളും പാഴ്വസ്തുക്കളും അലക്ഷ്യമായി വലിച്ചെറിഞ്ഞ് നാടും നഗരവും ജലാശയങ്ങളും വൃത്തിഹീനമാക്കുന്നത് എൻ്റെ നാടിനോട് ചെയ്യുന്ന കുറ്റകൃത്യമാണെന്ന് ഞാൻ തിരിച്ചറിയുന്നു. സംസ്കാരശൂന്യവും നിയമവിരുദ്ധവുമായ അത്തരം പ്രവൃത്തികളിൽ ഞാൻ ഒരിക്കലും ഏർപ്പെടുകയില്ല. അതിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യാഘാതങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് എനിക്ക് പരിപൂർണ ബോധ്യമുണ്ട്. അതിനാൽ ചെറുതോ വലുതോ ആയ ഒരു പാഴ്വസ്തുവും ഞാൻ വലിച്ചെറിയുകയില്ല. നിരോധിത പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് വസ്തുക്കളൊന്നും ഉപയോഗിക്കുകയുമില്ല. ശുചിത്വത്തിനായി കൈക്കൊള്ളുന്ന എല്ലാ നടപടികളോടും ഞാൻ പൂർണ്ണമായി സഹകരിക്കും. മാലിന്യമുക്ത നവകേരളം എന്ന ലക്ഷ്യത്തിനായി നാടിനൊപ്പം ഞാനും ആത്മാർത്ഥമായി പ്രവർത്തിക്കുമെന്ന് പ്രതിജ്ഞ ചെയ്യുന്നു. പ്രതിജ്ഞ പ്രതിജ്ഞ പ്രതിജ്ഞ. For the information of our guests from various parts of our country, this pledge is taken as part of an ongoing campaign to make Kerala garbage free. The government has decided that every official function should start with a pledge to make Kerala garbage free. So thank you for cooperating.
ചെക്ക്. അടുത്തതായി മാലിന്യമുക്ത നവകേരളത്തിൻ്റെ തീം സോങ് റിലീസാണ്. സ്വിച്ച് ഓൺ ചെയ്യുന്നതിനായി ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട തദ്ദേശ വകുപ്പ് മന്ത്രി ശ്രീ എം.ബി. രാജേഷ് അവർകളെ ബഹുമാന പുരസ്സരം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. ശ്രീമതി ദിവ്യ അയ്യർ IAS, പ്രോജക്ട് ഡയറക്ടർ കേരള സോളിഡ് സ്റ്റേറ്റ് വേസ്റ്റ് മാനേജ്മെൻറ്റ് പ്രോജക്ട്, KT ബാലഭാസ്കർ, എക്സിക്യൂട്ടീവ് ഡയറക്ടർ കേരള ശുചിത്വ മിഷൻ, K. സുരേഷ് കുമാർ MD, ക്ലീൻ കേരള കമ്പനി എന്നിവരെ വേദിയിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു.
മാലിന്യങ്ങളും പാഴ്വസ്തുക്കളും അലക്ഷ്യമായി വലിച്ചെറിഞ്ഞ് നാടും നഗരവും ജലാശയങ്ങളും വൃത്തിഹീനമാക്കുന്നത്
എൻ്റെ നാടിനോട് ചെയ്യുന്ന കുറ്റകൃത്യമാണെന്ന് ഞാൻ തിരിച്ചറിയുന്നു.
സംസ്കാരശൂന്യവും നിയമവിരുദ്ധവുമായ അത്തരം പ്രവൃത്തികളിൽ
ഞാൻ ഒരിക്കലും ഏർപ്പെടുകയില്ല.
അതിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യാഘാതങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് എനിക്ക് പൂർണ്ണമായ ബോധ്യമുണ്ട്.
അതിനാൽ ചെറുതോ വലുതോ ആയ ഒരു പാഴ്വസ്തുവും ഞാൻ വലിച്ചെറിയില്ല.
നിരോധിത പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് ഉൽപ്പന്നങ്ങളും ഞാൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കില്ല.
മാലിന്യമുക്ത നവകേരളത്തിനായി നാടിനൊപ്പം ഞാനും ആത്മാർത്ഥമായി പ്രവർത്തിക്കും എന്ന് പ്രതിജ്ഞ ചെയ്യും.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Honorable Minister for LSGD, Shri MP Rajesh, for the opening remarks.
വേദിയിലുള്ള ശ്രീ മണിശങ്കർ അയ്യർ ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള ഡോക്ടർ തോമസ് ഐസക് ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള ബഹുമാന്യരെ, സഹോദരീ സഹോദരന്മാരെ, ജനപ്രതിനിധികളെ, ആൻഡ് ഫ്രണ്ട്സ് കെയിം ഫ്രം വേരിയസ് പാർട്സ് ഓഫ് അവർ കൺട്രി. കേരളീയത്തിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി സംഘടിപ്പിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള വിവിധ സെമിനാറുകളിൽ ഈ സെമിനാർ കേരളത്തിലെ പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകളെ കുറിച്ചുള്ളതാണ്. വളരെ ദീർഘമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പ്രസംഗത്തിന്, അധ്യക്ഷ പ്രസംഗത്തിന് ഞാൻ മുതിരുന്നില്ല. കാരണം ധാരാളം പ്രഗത്ഭരായിട്ടുള്ള പാനലിസ്റ്റുകൾ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. സമയം നമുക്ക് കർശനമായി പാലിക്കേണ്ടതുമുണ്ട്. കേരളത്തിലെ പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകളുടെയും അധികാര വികേന്ദ്രീകരണത്തിൻ്റെയും ചരിത്രം ദേശീയ പ്രസ്ഥാനത്തിൻ്റെ സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യ സമരകാലത്തെ ബഹുജന പ്രസ്ഥാനങ്ങളിൽ ആഴത്തിൽ വേരോടിയിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. അവിടെയാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ വേരുകളുള്ളത്. 1957 തെരഞ്ഞെടുപ്പിലൂടെ അധികാരത്തിൽ വന്ന കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റ് ഗവൺമെൻറ്, EMSൻ്റെ നേതൃത്വത്തിലുള്ള ഗവൺമെൻറ് അധികാര വികേന്ദ്രീകരണത്തിൻ്റെ പ്രക്രിയയെ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോയി. അതിനുശേഷം ഒരു വലിയ ഗുണപരമായിട്ടുള്ള മാറ്റം പിന്നീട് ഉണ്ടാവുന്നത് 90കളിലാണ്. 90കളിൽ ലോകമാകെ, വിശേഷിച്ച് ഇന്ത്യ, നവലിബറൽ ഉദാരവൽക്കരണത്തിൻ്റെയും ആഗോളവൽക്കരണത്തിൻ്റെയും പാതയിലേക്ക് തിരിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ, ആഗോളവൽക്കരണത്തെ ആശ്ലേഷിച്ചപ്പോൾ, കേരളം ഒരു സംസ്ഥാനത്തിൻ്റെ പരിമിതികൾക്കകത്തു നിന്നുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ബദൽ വികസന പാതയെ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ ശ്രമിച്ചത് പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകൾ അധികാര വികേന്ദ്രീകരണവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട പരീക്ഷണങ്ങളിലൂടെയാണ്. പ്രധാനമായും 3 കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് 90കളിലുണ്ടായത്. ദേശീയ തലത്തിലുണ്ടായ 73-74 ഭരണഘടനാ ഭേദഗതികളുടെ ഭാഗമായി കേരളത്തിൽ കൂടുതൽ അധികാരങ്ങളും വിഭവങ്ങളും താഴെത്തട്ടിലേക്ക് പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകൾക്ക് കൈമാറുകയുണ്ടായി. അതോടൊപ്പം ആസൂത്രണ പ്രക്രിയയിലും തീരുമാനമെടുക്കുന്ന പ്രക്രിയയിലും ജനങ്ങളെയാകെ അണിനിരത്തുന്ന ജനകീയ ആസൂത്രണ പ്രസ്ഥാനത്തിനും 90കളുടെ മധ്യത്തോടെ തുടക്കം കുറിച്ചു. ഗ്രാമസഭകളെ ശാക്തീകരിക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇതേ കാലയളവിൽ തന്നെയാണ് കുടുംബശ്രീയുടെ രൂപീകരണവും ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. അത് അധികാര വികേന്ദ്രീകരണ പ്രക്രിയയ്ക്ക് പരസ്പര പൂരകമായി ഇത് രണ്ടും പ്രവർത്തിക്കുകയുണ്ടായി. ലക്ഷക്കണക്കിന് സ്ത്രീകളെ കുടുംബശ്രീയിലൂടെ സ്വയം സഹായ സംഘങ്ങളിലൂടെ അണിനിരത്താൻ കഴിഞ്ഞു. കുടുംബശ്രീ കേരളീയ നവോത്ഥാനത്തിൻ്റെ മുദ്രാവാക്യത്തെ സാക്ഷാത്കരിക്കുകയാണ് ചെയ്തത്. അടുക്കളയിൽ നിന്ന് അരങ്ങത്തേക്ക് എന്ന മുദ്രാവാക്യം അത് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ സാക്ഷാത്കരിക്കപ്പെട്ടത് കുടുംബശ്രീയുടെ ആവിർഭാവത്തോടു കൂടിയാണ്. സ്ത്രീകളെ സാമൂഹികമായും സാമ്പത്തികമായും രാഷ്ട്രീയമായും ശാക്തീകരിക്കാൻ കുടുംബശ്രീക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞു. അടുക്കളയിൽ നിന്ന് അരങ്ങത്തെത്തിയ സ്ത്രീകൾ സംരംഭകരായി മാറി, അവർ നേതാക്കളായി മാറി, തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങളുടെ അമരത്തേക്ക് വന്നു, പിന്നീട് MLA-മാരും മറ്റുമായിട്ട് മാറുകയുണ്ടായി. I am aware that around 300 invitees are participating from various parts of our country. For their convenience, I will try to make it bilingual. The history of our decentralization is deeply rooted in the mass movements of our national movement and freedom struggle. Then this legacy of decentralization, the politics of decentralization was taken forward by the first communist government led by Comrade EMS Namboodiripad. Then a qualitative change took place in the mid-90s when the whole world and especially India embraced the path of neoliberal globalization. Kerala started its new experiments with decentralization of power, empowering local self-governments through devolution of more resources and power to local self-government institutions. Along with this, Kerala ensured massive participation of people in the process of planning and in decision-making process through People's Plan campaign. And along with this, in the mid-90s, Kudumbashree was started. As many of you are well aware, Kudumbashree is a massive network of women self-help groups. So Kudumbashree emancipated the women, millions of women in the states. It ensured social, economic, and political empowerment of women. Leaders in various spheres of our life emerged from Kudumbashree movement, and many of them became leaders of local self-government institutions, and many of them became elected as members of legislative assembly. So in this way, Kudumbashree ensured social, economic, and political empowerment of women. ഈ ദൃഢമായിട്ടുള്ള അടിത്തറയിലാണ് കേരളത്തിലെ പ്രാദേശിക ഭരണം പടുത്തുയർത്തപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ളത്, അതിനെ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടുള്ളത്. അത് കേരളത്തിൻ്റെ സാമൂഹിക സാമ്പത്തിക ജീവിതത്തിന് എത്രമേൽ നിർണായകമാണ്, എത്രത്തോളം സുപ്രധാനമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു പങ്കാണ് വഹിക്കുന്നത് എന്നതിൻ്റെ തെളിവായിരുന്നു അടുത്ത കാലത്തുണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ള പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട രണ്ട് വെല്ലുവിളികളെ കേരളം കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്തതിൽ കൈവരിക്കാനായ മികവ്. ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് 2018 നൂറ്റാണ്ടിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രളയം, പിന്നീട് 2019 ഏറെക്കുറെ സമാനമായ പ്രളയം ആവർത്തിച്ച സാഹചര്യം, 2020 കോവിഡ് മഹാമാരി സൃഷ്ടിച്ച പ്രതിസന്ധി, അടിക്കടി പ്രതിസന്ധികളെ അഭിമുഖീകരിച്ചൊരു കാലമായിരുന്നു 2018 മുതൽ ഏതാണ്ട് 21 വരെയുള്ള കാലം. പ്രളയം കൊണ്ട് കേരളത്തിനുണ്ടായ നഷ്ടം കണക്കാക്കപ്പെട്ടത് 30,000 കോടി രൂപയുടേതാണ്. തൊട്ട് പിന്നാലെയാണ് മഹാമാരി വരുന്നത്, ലോക്ക്ഡൗൺ, അത് സൃഷ്ടിച്ച സാമ്പത്തിക നഷ്ടം, ഉപജീവന പ്രതിസന്ധി. ഇതിനെയെല്ലാം കേരളത്തിന് ഫലപ്രദമായിട്ട് നേരിടാനും കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യാനും കഴിഞ്ഞത് സുശക്തമായിട്ടുള്ള പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകളുടെ ദൃഢമായിട്ടുള്ള അടിത്തറയിലാണ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ സംസ്ഥാന ഗവൺമെൻറ്, കഴിഞ്ഞ ഗവൺമെൻറ് നടപ്പാക്കിയ, ഒന്നാം പിണറായി വിജയൻ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ കാലത്ത് ആരംഭിച്ച 4 പ്രധാന മിഷനുകൾ കേരളം സാമൂഹിക മേഖലയിൽ കൈവരിച്ച നേട്ടങ്ങളെ നവീകരിക്കുന്നതിന് ലക്ഷ്യമിട്ടുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ആർദ്രം, അതുപോലെ പൊതുവിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സംരക്ഷണ യജ്ഞം, സ്ഥായിയായ വികസനത്തെ, പാരിസ്ഥിതികമായ പരിഗണനകൾ കൂടി കണക്കിലെടുത്തുകൊണ്ട് സ്ഥായിയായ വികസനത്തെ മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ഹരിത കേരളം, എല്ലാവർക്കും വീട് എന്ന ലക്ഷ്യത്തോടെ മുന്നോട്ട് വെച്ച ലൈഫ്, ഈ 4 മിഷനുകൾ നടപ്പാക്കുന്നതിലും വളരെ നിർണായകമായിട്ടുള്ള പങ്കാണ് കേരളത്തിലെ തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ വഹിച്ചത്. അപ്പോൾ തദ്ദേശ സ്വയംഭരണ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾ കേരളത്തിലെ ഒരു പ്രതിസന്ധി ഘട്ടത്തിൽ അതിൽ നിന്ന് കേരളത്തെ കരകയറ്റുന്നതിലും കേരളത്തിലെ സാമൂഹിക സാമ്പത്തിക മാറ്റത്തിൻ്റെ ചാലകശക്തിയുമായി പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നതിൻ്റെ കാഴ്ച നാം കാണുകയുണ്ടായി. So this strong foundation of local self-governance in Kerala was displayed at its best when a situation of crisis erupted in 2018 when the worst floods happened in Kerala. Then a similar flood, almost a similar flood was repeated in 2019. COVID pandemic happened in 2020. So this was a difficult period. A strong foundation of a vibrant local self-government network that helped the state to overcome this difficult period. Along with this, the 4 crucial missions announced by the previous government led by Honorable Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, these 4 missions are live to ensure housing for all, പൊതുവിദ്യാഭ്യാസ സംരക്ഷണ യജ്ഞം to modernize our public education system, school education system, Ardram to strengthen our public healthcare system, and Harida Kerala with an objective of sustainable development. So all these missions were implemented with the active role and leadership of local self-government institutions. Now, പുതിയ വെല്ലുവിളികൾ എന്തെല്ലാമാണ് എന്നതാണ്. പുതിയ വെല്ലുവിളികളോടൊപ്പം അത് പുതിയ സാധ്യതകൾ കൂടി തുറന്നു തരുന്നുണ്ട് കേരളത്തിലെ പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകളുടെ മുമ്പിൽ. ഒന്ന് പ്രാദേശിക സാമ്പത്തിക വികസനത്തിൻ്റെതാണ്. സംരംഭകത്വം, നൂതനാശയങ്ങൾക്ക് അവസരമൊരുക്കൽ, നൈപുണ്യ വർധനവ്, അതുപോലെ തൊഴിൽ, വരുമാനം, ഇതെല്ലാമാണ് പ്രാദേശിക സാമ്പത്തിക വികസനത്തിലൂടെ പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകൾ ഇന്ന് ലക്ഷ്യമിടുന്നത്. പഴയതുപോലെ ക്ഷേമപ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ, പ്രാദേശിക വികസന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങൾ മാത്രമല്ല, സമ്പത്തുൽപാദനത്തിൽ നേരിട്ട് ഇടപെടുകയും പങ്കുവഹിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നവയാക്കി പ്രാദേശിക സർക്കാരുകളെ മാറ്റുക എന്നത് ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ലക്ഷ്യമായിട്ട് കാണുന്നു. വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടൊരു കാര്യം അതിദാരിദ്ര്യ നിർമ്മാർജ്ജനമാണ്. കേരള is having the lowest percentage of extremely poor people in the country. According to Niti Aayog's latest estimate, it is 0.55. A microscopic minority of 0.55% of our population is categorized as extremely poor. The very first decision of this government was to implement a project to eradicate extreme poverty. And I'm very happy, very glad to inform you that 2 days back, on the eve of Formation Day of Kerala, 1st November, on the occasion of the inauguration of this Keraleeyam, Honorable Chief Minister has released a status report stating that 47.8% of extremely poor came out of poverty through this extreme poverty eradication project. Our target was 40% by November 1st, 2023. So we have been achieved 47.8%. Initially, 2 years back, we identified through a comprehensive survey, identified that 64,006 families are extremely poor. We have, with the help of local self-government institutions, with the leadership of local self-government institutions, we had prepared micro plans for each of these families. 64,006 micro plans were prepared, and now we are in the process of implementing this micro plan. By November 1st, 47.8% of these extremely poor, identified as extremely poor, have come out of poverty. മാലിന്യമുക്ത നവകേരളം എന്നതാണ് മറ്റൊരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട വെല്ലുവിളി. അതൊരു പ്രധാന വെല്ലുവിളിയാണ്. കേരളം വേണ്ടത്ര മുന്നോട്ട് പോവാത്ത ഒരു മേഖലയായിട്ടാണ് കണക്കാക്കുന്നത്. ഞാനതിൻ്റെ വിശദാംശങ്ങളിലേക്കൊന്നും പോകുന്നില്ല. നമ്മളൊരു പ്രതിജ്ഞ ഇവിടെ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. I would like to tell you that 8,000 projects have been prepared by our local self-government institutions with a total allocation of 1,500 crores to achieve the target of garbage-free Kerala by March 2024. 8,000 projects have been envisaged by local self-government institutions. പിന്നെ ഒരു പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട വെല്ലുവിളി നഗരവൽക്കരണത്തിൻ്റെതാണ്. കേരളം അതിവേഗത്തിൽ നഗരവൽക്കരിക്കപ്പെട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. According to census of 2011, 47.8% of our population is urban population. And according to some estimates, by 2035, 95% of our population will be urban population. So Kerala is having the faster rate of urbanization in the state, in the country, and we are now preparing to address the challenges of urbanization, including waste management and various other challenges. So we have appointed an urban commission to draft a comprehensive policy, and with the help of a comprehensive policy, we hope to address the challenges posed by urbanization. Apart from this, Kerala Institute of Local Administration has developed local action plan for climate change. 260 LSDIs have already prepared this local action plan. Another challenge Kerala is facing is geriatric care. So all these are the challenges we are facing today, and we are hopeful that these challenges can be converted into an opportunity for the local self-government institutions in the country. In order to discharge these responsibilities, to fulfill these responsibilities, now we are in the process of strengthening and empowering local self-government institutions, making them more responsive, transparent, and efficient in functioning. Delivery of service quality, enhancing the quality of service delivery is an important priority. So for this purpose, we are focusing on digitization of our services. We are all set to launch K-Smart, an application for all self-government institutions. With the help of K-Smart, we can revolutionize the functioning of local self-government institutions, and we hope that we have decided to launch this K-Smart application on 1st January 2024. So all local self-government institutions will get the service of this K-Smart application. So this will transform not only the functioning of institutions, but also this will ensure enhanced service delivery, quality service delivery to citizens. അതോടൊപ്പം നമ്മുടെ കാര്യക്ഷമത വർദ്ധിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി കില നടത്തുന്ന പരിശീലനത്തോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ആധുനിക മാനേജ്മെന്റ് വൈഭവവും വൈദഗ്ധ്യവും ലഭ്യമാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി IMGയുടെ നേതൃത്വത്തിലുള്ള പരിശീലന പരിപാടിയും ഇപ്പോൾ നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥർക്കായി പരിശീലന പരിപാടി നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. റേറ്റിംഗ് തദ്ദേശ സ്ഥാപനങ്ങൾക്ക് റേറ്റിംഗ് കൊണ്ടുവരാൻ സംസ്ഥാന സർക്കാർ തീരുമാനിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. കൃത്യമായ സുതാര്യമായ മാനദണ്ഡങ്ങളുടെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ റേറ്റിംഗ് കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നതിന് സോഷ്യൽ ഓഡിറ്റ്, മാലിന്യ നിർമ്മാർജ്ജനം ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളിൽ സോഷ്യൽ ഓഡിറ്റ് നടപ്പിലാക്കുന്നതിനും ഗവൺമെൻറ് തീരുമാനിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. And finally, the local self-government institutions are now all prepared to launch a massive campaign with the objective of making Kerala the first digital literate state in the country. Remember, in 1987, Kerala became the first total literate state in the country. Now we have the highest internet penetration in the country, and we have rolled out K-Phone, Kerala Fiber Optical Network, to ensure access to internet. Kerala is the only state in the country to declare internet as a basic human right. So with this and with our focus on e-governance, now we have planned a total digital literacy campaign. Our local self-government institutions are spearheading this total digital literacy campaign. So in this way, we are trying to further strengthen and empower our local self-government institutions in the states. ഇത്രയും കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് എനിക്ക് ആമുഖമായിട്ട് പറയാനുള്ളത്. അല്പം കൂടുതൽ സമയമെടുത്തു എന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ആമുഖ പ്രസംഗം അവസാനിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്നേഹാഭിവാദനങ്ങൾ.
Thank you, sir, for this valuable opening remarks. Now, I would like to invite Additional Chief Secretary, LSDD, Kerala, Srimati Sharada Muralidharan IAS, for the department note presentation.
Bahumanyari, as the presentation gets loaded, let me at the outset say how honored we are to have so many friends, colleagues, and partners from all the states of India respond to our invitation and come over here to be part of this celebration, as it were. Thank you so much. Next slide, please. So I'll go straight into the presentation. Of course, these are all things that we know about what happened, and there are stalwarts sitting here who actually spearheaded this. So it would be amiss of me to be talking about what happened as far as the Big Bang on decentralized governance happened post the Kerala Panchayat, post the constitutional amendments with the laws passed, and then first of all, and that is a small thing you might need to know, which was before all this happened, the state had also decided, let's do a stock taking of all the schemes that were beneficiary oriented and say, okay, let's just transfer them to the local governments to be done. So that was the first step, and then came the Big Bang, which is the Janagya Sutranam, for which we will have a lot of speakers referring to that. Next slide, please. So there are many people here who were part of the journey of GPDP. GPDP, when we started this question was, how can this happen in many states? And we wanted to give you the experience of Kerala to say, yes, this can happen. But there is also the assumption that that political will just ensure that we can steamroll over the process. But no, I wanted to point out that, yes, it was exciting times, but the chaos of decentralization at that point of time was also tremendous. There was resistance from all corners. People were talking about how this is not decentralization, this is decentralization of corruption. People were talking about, you had health officers, engineers coming in and say, how can we work under a panchayat? We had new systems of planning that needed to be prepared. Nobody had ideas as to how this whole thing, how this new creature was going to develop. You did not know what were the limits of local governance. Where did it end? And where did sectoral responsibilities begin? So figuring that out, the do's and the don'ts, and then you didn't have people on the ground to deliver all this. The desire and the demand was huge, but you didn't have people on the ground. You actually had an entire set of about 40,000 officers of the state went on working arrangement into the Gram Panchayats, into the municipalities, into the block Panchayats and the district Panchayats at various levels to actually support the whole process. And of course, there were delays. In the beginning, I remember the first plan which actually took as far as January of the next year to actually take off. And it was after that, this whole thing, because you were learning and the process had to come in. And then you also saw that local governments were behaving in any which way that was possible. And sometimes the intent of the state and the center were lost in that. So you had a coordination committee which was created. And this coordination committee it first met on regular basis, then weekly basis, and 2 weekly basis. And today, even today, the coordination committees are meeting on a regular basis to discuss and figure out how to ensure that facilitate the local governments, and B, ensure that they are working within the framework of governance. Next slide, please. There is one unique intervention that happened which I would like to draw attention to, and that was the DPC, the District Planning Committee. Now, this is constitutionally mandated, but Kerala gave a totally new spin to what the DPC was. What did it do? It said that the DPC was going to be the body that approved the plans, the projects and the plans of every single local government, be it corporation, municipality, panchayat, district, even the district panchayat. You know that the district panchayat president heads the DPC, but the panchayat president and the DPC chairman are two different entities, and they behave as two different entities. I remember that in the DPC, which I was member secretary of when I was collector Trivandrum, the DPC actually rejected the district panchayat president's plan, saying that it was outside the purview. So you found interesting dynamic that was coming up there. The DPC was also the watchguard to ensure that everything went right. At that time we said you need to have product sector, infrastructure, social sector. So there were ceilings that were given. Infrastructure should not exceed productive sector. So there were some instructions that were given. It was also important to see that the SC plan, the ST plan, the plan for women, the plan for disabled, the plan for elderly, the plan for children, all of these were incorporated. It was important that the interventions were done in alignment with state and central policies. It was important that the subsidy framework was completely adhered to. How do you ensure all of that? And this was a responsibility which was given to the DPC. And then you had in the district of Trivandrum itself at that time, you had 10,000 projects which were coming in 3 days' time. You had to have a system by which all these could be approved. So we were pulling in resources from any which way, putting them together, and also doing the technical scrutinies, setting up a committee framework for technical scrutinies on the basis of which all this was done. So next, please. Kudumbashree, the Honorable Minister talked about Kudumbashree, but I would like to tell you the Kudumbashree is actually started as a state poverty eradication mission. And then it became the Women Empowerment Mission. And the beauty of Kudumbashree was that it was not just about SHGs. It was about marrying the idea of the SHG into the idea of a local community that was engaged in the planning process on the ground. So which is why we call them neighborhood groups, not SHGs. So ask any Kudumbashree and they will not equate themselves with SHG. They think of themselves as neighborhood groups, because the neighborhood group was the smallest unit of decentralized planning, which went to the Gram Sabha and the Ward Sabha. So this was a wonderful space where the poor could consolidate, where women could consolidate, where people on the margins of society could consolidate. And by that consolidation, they became relevant to the local government. They became relevant for the planning process. So in that way, the state was actually ensuring that equitable distribution of resources was ensured by the creation and the growth of Kudumbashree. So another interesting dynamic that happened was with the MGNREJs. And when the MGNREJs, Mr. Vijayanand, who was sitting here, was at that point of time, he said, let us make the ADS, that is the second tier, it will be equivalent to the CLF. ADS-ine namukku mate aaki kalayam. So at one stroke, Kudumbashree became central to the MGNREJ's program, and what it created was the participation of women, because women participation in the labor workforce was actually very low in Kerala, and MGNREJs changed that. MGNREJs also made women come into agriculture in a big way as producers, not as workers. as producers. It helped in converting fallow land into cultivable, productive land. And the knowledge that women were able to develop with regard to natural resource management also was tremendous. So this was, and MGNREGs in Kerala therefore became a stepping stone to multiple things. And from there you also see that the engagement in disaster, the minister also was talking about that, the engagement in disaster management, post-disaster. Why did we not, with the kind of floods that we had, with the kind of devastation, we should have had a roaring epidemic. That did not happen. And it did not happen because communities and the mobilization, both at the level of the local government and at the level of Kudumbashree, there was rapid mobilization and interventions that cleaned up and took care of this. So also for the local government today, it is Kudumbashree which is the flag bearer of local economic development, because Kudumbashree has that experience of what it means to economically empower the poor. Next slide, please. So just pictures of Kudumbashree. Next. The whole branding experience, which is what I meant, the knowledge of how to work the economy and what are the spaces that you can get into, something which Kudumbashree has been continually reinventing itself about. We also have had support organizations like the Shweta Mission, the Haritha Kerala Mission, and these were, because Kerala was a state which became ODF, and the first major state after Sikkim to become ODF. And this was primarily because the local governments and the investment they made in sanitation. But even then they said, you're going to face second generation sanitation problems very soon. And that's what we are facing right now. And the Shweta Mission came in as a total health and support mission for this. And then came the Haritha Kerala Mission, which was again mentioned about. The Haritha Kerala, which was about green Kerala, greening the green agenda, the sustainability agenda, is something which Haritha Kerala Mission supported in a big way and created models of excellence of how communities can come together, work with local governments to create models of excellence. The Malinya Mukta Navakerala campaign is something that the minister spoke about. I will not touch on that. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes, again, very telling pictures these are. The Information Kerala Mission. Now you need to know that the digital infrastructure of Kerala did not begin yesterday. It began almost 20 years ago. 20 years ago, we tried to put the projects of the local governments onto through an app into the digital space. 20 years ago, we tried to get them to record the plan processes. What we even tried to figure out what is happening in the panchayats, what are the meetings. Let us capture those meetings and let them be visible. So the idea of accountability and transparency was something which the IKM, Information Kerala Mission, which was set up, was able to bring into all the local governments. And property tax account. And of course, we are now going into the second version of this, ILGMS, it is Integrated Local Government Management System. Interestingly, in Kerala, all our panchayats, gram panchayats, are digital. Our municipalities are not. So it is the gram panchayats. The gram panchayats together are handling 1.4 crore files online, from the front office and online. And out of that, they have already cleared 1.3 crore. 92% is a clearance. So we get to see each and every panchayat, what is happening, whether they are processing and whether they are responsive or not. So these are all the various processes that the ILGMS has enabled, civil registration. And now we are into the next level, version 2.0 of that, which is K-Smart. And where we're bringing the municipal bodies as well, we're bringing ChatGPT, AI platforms. The whole idea is to really come out with a completely digitally enabled state. Next, please. So this is a Gram Panchayat office. Every Gram Panchayat office has a system like this. This is part of the ISO system. Next. Now, how do you make all this possible? As you know, in Kerala, the SIRD has merged with KILA. But KILA's training ethic has been that of cascading trainings. You will be surprised to know that there is hardly any core human resource inside KILA. Almost the resources of KILA are external. They are resource persons of various kinds and hues who are brought in, consultants who are brought in. So this is the way KILA works. And KILA continually, so it's a never-ending process of training. working with the elected representatives, the standing committees, the working groups which prepare the projects, the resource persons, the officials, so stakeholder groups, communities, the Kudumbashree, all of these trainings are organized by KILA. And KILA becomes the repository of the archival information on decentralization of best practices. Today, it is a national and international connect of KILA has been quite amazing, and therefore, with all this knowledge in its, with it, KILA has become an advisory body to the local governments as well. I would like to speak specifically about the extreme poverty eradication program. I mean, the minister mentioned it, but what we don't know is that this was something which took off from the NRLM idea of participatory identification of poor. It took off from the Ashraya experience of destitute-free Kerala, and through that, what happened was 14 lakh people participated using qualitative indicators to identify these extremely poor. So you had to make a distinction between what was poor, moderately poor, extremely poor, and communities had to say that amongst themselves, we are not poor, this person is poorer than us. And that was a process. It went through multiple iterations before we could even figure out what the indicator was. And then multiple iterations to figure out how the FGD needed to be done. And it was at the end of all of that that we came out with these 64,000 families for whom we are looking at, first of all, when these people are so marginalized, they don't have voter ID, they don't have Aadhaar, they don't have anything. So, or if they have ration cards at all, they'll be APL cards because nobody recognizes them. So getting all these cards for them, their entitlements, then looking at health, nutrition, and food. Yes, sir. I'll just wrap up, sir. So getting at health, nutrition, and food, these were initiatives that were taken, and that was on the basis of which we have identified 47% as having cleared. So now can you move on to the last slide? Because there will be, okay, the pictures. There are other initiatives which you can see here, ISO certification. Next. This is the front office of the Panchayat. This is a prefab housing complex in a Panchayat. Urban policy integration have all been spoken about. And then next. Disaster management. We are having a seminar on disaster management in the afternoon, so could discuss this in detail at that point. Next. Just some pictures again. Next. SDGs, localization, SDGs, as you know, we are at the forefront of that. Next. Just the last slide, please. So this is, I just end with this because this is a question. What are the challenges that Kerala sees for local governance? One is the fact that when we are moving into the space of digitization, of technical capability, find that we do not have adequate technical human resources. So that is a huge important. Then we need more funds to be able to work on the ground. Design elements needs to come into administration, and system thinking is required. We have a balkanization happening right now. We need to work on that. Here's the last slide, Anand. The dynamic of urbanization, which was mentioned, I will not mention this, and ultimately also autonomy, because over time, autonomy reduces, and it is time to reclaim that autonomy. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Thank you, ma'am, for the elaborate department note presentation. പ്രഗത്ഭനായ സിവിൽ സർവീസ് ഉദ്യോഗസ്ഥൻ, നയതന്ത്രജ്ഞൻ എന്നീ മേഖലയിൽ തിളങ്ങിയ രാഷ്ട്രീയ നേതാവാണ് ശ്രീ മണിശങ്കർ അയ്യർ. തമിഴ്നാട് പ്രതിനിധീകരിച്ച് 3 തവണ ലോക്സഭാ അംഗമായിരുന്നു. 2006 മികച്ച പാർലമെന്റേറിയൻ അവാർഡ് നൽകി ആദരിച്ചു. 2004 മുതൽ 2009 വരെ പഞ്ചായത്തി രാജിൻ്റെ ചുമതലയുള്ള ക്യാബിനറ്റ് മന്ത്രിയായിരുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹം 9 പുസ്തകങ്ങൾ പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും പുതിയ കൃതിയായ മെമ്മോസ് ഓഫ് മെവറിക് ആണ്. Manishankar Iyer is a leader who is a civil servant and a diplomat. He is a member of Lok Sabha representing Tamil Nadu and served 6 years in Rajya Sabha. In 2006, he was honored with Outstanding Parliamentarian Award. Iyer has served as the cabinet minister from 2004 to 2009, who was in charge of Panchayati Raj, the first minister to hold his responsibilities in the country. He authored 9 books to date. With his recent work, Memoirs of Maverick, It's my honor to invite you, sir.
Minister Rajesh, distinguished members of the podium, I see lots of my friends in the audience, particularly a very large delegation from Karnataka. Ladies and gentlemen and friends, although it is almost impossible sitting on the stage to hear what is being said at the podium, I did manage to understand, if I'm right, that Mr. Rajesh, Minister Rajesh, had asked us to keep politics out of this discussion on local government. I certainly do not intend to bring politics in, but I have to begin by saying that my party asked me at the last moment, while I was traveling to Kerala, to not attend Keraleeyam. I have nevertheless decided to come here, not in order to be an indisciplined congressman, but because Panchayati Raj, in a genuine sense, started in Kerala only after Rajiv Gandhi's Act, as amended, had been passed by Parliament. So I'm here as a tribute to Rajiv Gandhi rather than, if you'll forgive me, sir, as a tribute to Pinarayi Vijayan. And I hope my party will not expel me or send me to a Gulag archipelago for having attended this meeting. There is simply no doubt, everybody knows it, that the number one state in Panchayati Raj in India is Kerala. And the presentations that we have had this morning by His Excellency the Minister, and then by that brilliant lady who just talked about in detail the Additional Chief Secretary dealing with local government, detailed all the achievements of Panchayati Raj in Kerala. It is therefore neither possible nor desirable for me to just imitate her speech. I would like to begin by saying that I endorse every word that Minister Rajesh and the Additional Chief Secretary said, to take that for granted and to move on from there. I think the most basic fact about Kerala is that in the 1960s, Kerala's poverty levels were about the same as those of Bihar, around well over 65%. Today, while Bihar's level of poverty has declined to 51%, in Kerala, I'm told it has declined to 0.4%. And that the attention here is not on eliminating poverty as it is in most of the rest of the country, but on eliminating extreme poverty, to the extent that I am given to understand that there are at least 2 districts in Kerala, Kottayam and Ernakulam, where there are almost no really people below the poverty line. Now, the poverty line is an academic invention of the Planning Commission. It doesn't really mean the poor. What it should be called is an utter deprivation line. So the people of Kerala continue in large numbers to be poor, even if they're not below the poverty line. And what we call the poverty line is really a desperation line and not a poverty line. So I am very glad to hear from the Additional Chief Secretary that the principal focus of Panchayati Raj in Kerala is already and will continue to be the removal of extreme poverty so that not one single person is left poor in this state. Mahatma Gandhi had said that the aim of independence is to wipe every tear from every eye. And it looks as if Kerala is going to be the first state to succeed in wiping every tear from every eye. And I want to congratulate the people of Kerala. Please note, I'm not saying the government of Kerala. I'm saying I want to congratulate the people of Kerala on this magnificent achievement. And I say the people of Kerala because although there are frequent changes of government in Kerala, and perhaps there'll be another one at the next election, I don't know. I know that Mr. Rajesh's expectations are somewhat different to mine. But nevertheless, what I want to stress is that it has not made a difference to Kerala's commitment to Panchayati Raj as to whether it is the United Front that is in power or the Left Front that is in power. The succeeding governments have maintained the achievements of the previous government and then attempted to take matters forward. And the latest left-front government has, I think, had notable successes, but I don't think at that same time we should forget the successes of the United Front when it was in power. Panchayati Raj in Kerala is not a party issue. It is a people's issue, and so long as it remains a people's issue, I think we can continue to expect Kerala to remain in the top league. But I'm particularly delighted to find a large Karnataka contingent here, because Karnataka is biting at the heels of Kerala. Your first position cannot be taken for granted. Karnataka has done a number of things which I think need to be studied by Kerala. And since there are so many heroes of Panchayati Raj sitting among us, including the former Secretary to the Prime Minister, Sri Meenakshi Sundaram, I hope Keraleeyam will take advantage of their presence to hold a detailed discussion between the Additional Chief Secretary and this delegation to see in what respects Karnataka is different to Kerala. I'm not saying superior. That would be for the government of Kerala to decide. But there are innovative, different things that Karnataka is doing that should at least be studied in Kerala and then perhaps adapted to your specific conditions. But I would hope that the single most constructive outcome of this edition of Keraleeyam in respect of local government is that the Karnataka delegation will be taken advantage of. We have just had a couple of weeks ago a meeting in Karnataka to see how the new government there can improve on the existing form of Panchayati Raj. They had set up a committee several years ago under the former speaker, Mr. Ramesh Kumar. The Ramesh Kumar committee included a number of those who are sitting in the front row here. That committee made, I think, revolutionary changes in the legislative dispositions for Panchayati Raj. But unlike Kerala, where quick action is taken on legislative changes, I am afraid in Karnataka, partly because of a change of government, the implementation of the Ramesh Kumar committee has not been satisfactory. And what our meeting last month in Bangalore did was to point out which are the areas in which progress can be made. Fortunately, one of the members of the Karnataka Ramesh Kumar committee, who has also been the Zilla Panchayat chairman of Bangalore Rural and been a member of parliament, I refer to Sri Narayan Swamy. He's also here among us. He will be taking note of the recommendations made in respect of Karnataka, and I hope, I only hope, I don't pray because I'm in a communist state. I hope that we will be able to also have a similar committee, an all-party committee, here in Kerala to look after all these decades at the Panchayat Raj legislation with a view to saying how things can be further improved in Kerala. I think the worst outcome of this Keraleeyam would be to pat yourselves on the back, say we are the best, and go home satisfied. Panchayati Raj is a continuing exercise. I don't think we'll ever reach perfect Panchayati Raj. But having made as much progress as Kerala has done, and the progress is outstanding. That's the only expression I can use. It's outstanding. It's just about the best in the country. It's perhaps among the best forms of local government anywhere in the world. But since I have seen local government in other countries, in particular Belgium, which is not a country we think of very often for local government, but I was posted in Belgium for 7 years, and I saw how a municipality of Brussels, which is the capital of Belgium, had as many as 19 municipalities. They're called communes. 19 municipalities to manage 1 million people. And each of them had their own constabulary. So much so that one day I was arrested when I did not have my diplomatic card with me, and I was driving someone else's car, so there was no diplomatic plate. And I was taken to the police station, which was about 200 meters from my home. And I said to them, can you not send your police from Etterbeek to the Ixelles commune where I live? And I will show you that at home, I have a diplomatic passport. And I was told that it's now 2 o'clock in the morning. We cannot disturb the Ixelles police, and we are not allowed to enter Ixelles. To that extent, there is devolution in Belgium. And I think one of the first things that Minister Rajesh might wish to consider is to send a composite all-party delegation to Belgium, where now they've started speaking English. In my time, they only spoke French. but with a French translator perhaps, I'm sure the embassy can help, to study the manner in which urban Panchayati Raj takes place in Belgium. And the reason I say this is that nearly half of Kerala's population is today urbanized. So the old Panchayati Raj system is getting outdated for approximately half your population. And I'm not sure that the progress made on the 74th Amendment in Kerala is as impressive as the progress made under the 73rd Amendment. I think it is time Professor Thomas Isaac was commissioned to write a supplementary volume to his famous book on people's planning, because I'm not sure the techniques of people's planning that are used in Kerala's rural areas are automatically applicable to Kerala's. Oh, I'm afraid my time is over. So although I had a lot more to say, I will take my leave. I just finish with one sentence, that since you have done a remarkable job with rural Panchayati Raj, you have to remember that Kerala is an exceptional state in that urbanization is not taking place by villagers going into towns, but by villages becoming towns and municipal areas. I mean, to drive from Kannur to Trivandrum is to not drive through any countryside. It's all one. And therefore, I think a Thomas Isaac is needed in an urban version. And I think the same Thomas Isaac can do it. And I therefore hope you will be able to achieve that. Can I have another 5 minutes? Can I have another 5 minutes? I just want to very telegraphically run through some other suggestions that I have. Number one is really the basic question. What is the scope of what is the future scope of democratic decentralization in Kerala itself? I have given you one mention, which is increasing urbanization. The other is environment degradation, which is being tackled, I find very impressively, by the Harita Keralam mission. But you need a Harita Keralam mission for the areas that are getting urbanized. That is very important because all urbanization is environmentally polluting. If we only had villages, we wouldn't have the environmental problems we have, and we wouldn't have the climate change problems that we have. The other has been mentioned particularly by Minister Rajesh, so I don't need to dwell on it. It is the aging population of Kerala. I used to be a young man 50 years ago. I'm now an old man, and therefore I realize that there are problems of aging which one had not even dreamt of even 30 or 20 years ago. And so I'm very glad that you're taking this initiative. My second quick point was Karnataka's Gram Swaraj Act. It has several innovations, such as a panchayat service. It has activity maps, they don't call it that, which synchronize finances, functions, and functionaries. That is not happening in Kerala, where there is no service over which the panchayats have a control. It is the departmental officers who are cooperating and coordinating. I'm not denying that. But they're not under the control of the panchayats. You might consider that. I was specially asking the gentleman sitting next to me, I'm not sure of his name or his designation, whether he could kindly arrange a meeting in the tribal parts of Kerala. I was thinking of Idukki, but that's only because I know the name. But somewhere in the tribal parts, and although the PESA, the Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act, does not apply to Kerala, I think at least two provisions of PESA which are not present in Kerala should perhaps be applied right over the state and in the tribal areas. Number one, that all panchayati plans have to be approved by the Gram Sabha before they are implemented. Now that's a remarkable innovation because it gives people's participation and people's representation. Secondly, no utilization certificate written by an officer can be sent to Delhi without the express approval of the Gram Sabha. And since Kerala has made more progress in open democratic discussion in the Gram Sabhas than anywhere else, I think these two suggestions could easily be accepted. I also think you have arrived at a kind of stagnation in your fiscal decentralization model. There is immense, much more fiscal decentralization in Kerala than anywhere else. But that's approximately 25%. And maybe we should strive 25, 27, right. I don't think 25 to 27 is major progress. We need to think in terms of a big bang approach, like it was thought of in 1996, when there was zero decentralization, and today 25% of the budget is being spent by the panchayats. But 100% of the people live in the panchayats or in urban agglomerations. So we should be going further up. And for that, perhaps Mr. Narayan Swamy will have some exciting ideas to give, which would perhaps disturb you greatly, but which you might still think about. I would also like to say, and I'm now really going to conclude, that you have a brilliant system of maintenance grants by the department being given to the panchayats to administer. The maintenance of assets was Rajiv Gandhi's personal contribution to the 11th schedule. So I begin as I ended. I'm paying a tribute to Rajiv Gandhi and not just to Pinarayi Vijayan by coming to Keraleeyam. You have achieved what he set out to do. Of course, he was of a different party, but you have not allowed that to come in the way of making the decision that you did, and therefore, also finally, I think you need to concentrate on the third F, the functionaries. There is very little administrative devolution in Kerala. And while you've achieved miracles with functional devolution and with financial devolution, if to that were added functionaries devolution, I think Kerala can be assured that it will be ahead of Karnataka and therefore in the first position in this country. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and my apologies to the Congress President in Kerala.
Thank you, sir. Dr. T.M. Thomas Isaac, ഇന്ത്യയിലെ അറിയപ്പെടുന്ന പ്രമുഖ സാമ്പത്തിക വിദഗ്ധനും മുൻ ധനമന്ത്രിയുമാണ്. കേരള സംസ്ഥാന ആസൂത്രണ ബോർഡ് അംഗമെന്ന നിലയിൽ കേരളത്തിലെ ജനകീയ ആസൂത്രണത്തിന് പങ്കുവഹിച്ച അദ്ദേഹം തിരുവനന്തപുരത്തെ സെൻറ്റർ ഫോർ ഹ്യൂമൻ ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് സ്റ്റഡീസിലെ പ്രൊഫസറായിരുന്നു. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ പ്രശസ്തമായ കൃതി കേരളം മണ്ണും മനുഷ്യനും 1989 കേരള സാഹിത്യ അക്കാദമി അവാർഡ് ലഭിച്ചു.
Dear Minister Rajesh, dear Manishankarji, other distinguished members of the panel, and dear friends, it's always a great pleasure to share a stage with Kerala's great friend, Manishankarji. He has been with us since the passage of 1973-74 constitutional amendment on this long journey on the path of democratic decentralization. There are many moments I will savor having spent with him. He has always been a rule breaker. I particularly remember in 2009, you making me head a subcommittee of local administration ministers. I was finance minister of Kerala at that time. But the sacrilege was, you chose to be a member of my committee. That nobody could stomach, particularly the officials from Delhi. And we had a lot of funny moments every time the committee met. Well, 2 months back, you wrote to me, of course, trust me, whether Kerala would celebrate 30th anniversary of the 74 constitutional amendment. So I replied, Karnataka would be more appropriate place. The election had just been over. Now the fact a big contingent has come from Karnataka gives hope that will be materialized. And he can take this conference as a contribution from Kerala. Now, the distinctive feature of Kerala's decentralization program has been that it was not a mere administrative reform, but a process of social mobilization. I remember 25 years back, EMS Namburipat summoning me, Bilati, EMS son Nanian, who is no more with us. After the new government was sworn in, he told his main mandate is going to be decentralization. Of course, at the initiative of Rajiv Gandhi, I won't debate with that. 73rd, 74th constitutional amendments have come in as a reality. So he said, this gives an opportunity. How do you create a political atmosphere in the state, a political will in the state, so that this opportunity is used? And that's how People's Plan campaign started. You transform the process of planning, which is more a technical process, as an instrument of social mobilization. Planning involves need identification, a situation analysis and prioritization, then projectization, then drawing of the projects into a proper plan before implementation. So each of these phases was used in a manner that nobody would be excluded, everybody included. Some scientific analysis thinking goes as input into the process through a cascading education program. Before every phase started, you have a state level 600, 700 persons, key resource persons training, 10,000 persons at the district level, and about 100,000 persons at the local level, 7 rounds. And this was one of the most largest non-formal education campaign ever conducted in India. And the result is, one, for the last 25 years, every local government in Kerala has been preparing the plan. Okay. 2, governments have changed. The reforms have withstood 5 government changes. 3, despite the various problems at the state level, financial problems, as he said, recently, on the whole, it has increased by 10% to 15% per annum outlay, devolution to local governments. But substantially increasing further the devolution would entail a fundamental restructuring of center-state relations. That's it. Even with the best of intentions, I was the finance minister, I was finding it hard to keep up the devolution. Anyway, that is an aside. And what has been the outcome? I think fantastic. Same in the provision of services, education, healthcare, and so on, there has been a tremendous visible improvement. In the rural asset creation in terms of roads, housing, and so on, remarkable achievements. Poverty eradication, a major role has been played by local governments. And the achievements have been not so remarkable, say, in areas related to production, small-scale industry and agriculture. But sufficient has been achieved to make us all convinced that this is the right path, democratic decentralization. It has also contributed to better citizenship. Though the state level politics is very fractional, okay, polarized, of which Manishankarji hinted, I tell you at the local level there is greater cooperation. The design of local governments has been such in terms of, say, standing committee chairmanship, everybody will have a role in the governance, and that has contributed to a better citizenship at the local level. Now, the future. The last slide of yours, Sarada. Look here, I said one narrative. This needn't be the narrative. There have been many streams which have fed into local government program. Well, I was an academic at Center for Development Studies. Right from the start of CDS, Dr. Raj, Gulati, and so on, been the lead for studying this problem. George Thomas is here. Okay, there is an academic stream which has contributed to it. A whole lot of people who have worked with us together from the People's Science Movement are here. Activists at the grassroots level who have been experimenting and so on. See, you're initiating a huge program involving 1,000 crores without rules, without precedents and so on. And you need models what to do in education, what to do in healthcare and so on. Kerala's ripe for that because of local level experiments. And this official government machinery, local government, So how do you govern it? Vijayananda, I am certain, will speak. Sharada was the district collector in Trivandrum, that's why she was referring to Trivandrum. See, so there are many streams which have gone into the people's planning campaign, and how this narrative can be different from the perspective. Now, last point, I'll stick to 12 minutes. 2 more. Oh, okay, that's good enough. Future. What we require is a second edition of People's Plan Campaign. It's not just local government is there. But the idea is to go beyond representative democracy, participation, direct participation. And that cannot be made with rules. That's the lesson of People's Plan Campaign. And we need a second edition if the local governments are to be prevented from being clones of the state government. Elected representatives and the employees. 1. 2, I agree fully with what Manishankar here said. Urbanization. At that time, Kerala's urban population was 20%.